All right, good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 123 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast, our last show for 2017. I am Paul English, your host tonight, and like always, we have a terrific episode for you and a great panel that I'm going to introduce to you, beginning with Chris Miller. How are you doing?
Doing good, guys. Doing good, guys. Yeah, went to see this movie Thursday night. I know it has some problems. Server for the movie couldn't, had some issues, but probably I was able to see. But yeah, I'm glad to talk about it. Really glad to be here.
And 2 weeks in a row now, 2 episodes in a row, he hasn't done this in a while. He's anticipating a firing squad for him. We got Eric Mickelson. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty well. I had a great time actually seeing the film. I actually got to meet up with Paul and Caleb for this one, and yeah, I can't wait to discuss it. Though I don't feel like everyone else is gonna be excited for what I have to say.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Yes. I said I feel dread. I feel dread right now.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Oh my goodness. I feel dread. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everybody dragging tonight, I'm afraid. Looks like a bit of a rough show. Oh God, Google, hold it together for God's sakes. All right. And back also here, our co-founder, our creator, it's Caleb Tufts. How you doing, buddy?
What's up? It's I don't say my fault, but I'm the reason why we had to change it to tonight, and unfortunately that's why Mike couldn't be here. Because again, of course, I had to close every single Monday, even though I've asked my boss if I could work during the day. But hey, that's life. So
that's fair. I have to close tomorrow.
I missed a lot of spoiler reviews, and I didn't want to miss the one for Star Wars because I have a lot to say. So, but I'm excited to be here, Paul. Let's get it done.
Indeed. All right, guys. So, Star Wars Last Jedi opened up last weekend. This is a movie that we have been waiting basically 2 years for, and we are here to discuss the good, the bad, what we like, what we didn't like. Chris, I don't know what your experience was like getting to watch the movie, but I mean, if you've seen the pictures we posted on Facebook, it was me, Caleb, Eric, and Mike. We all saw this stuff together. We had a hell of a time hanging out. It was a wonderful time. And
I saw that picture.
Yeah, and Chris, I want you to know that Caleb and I are slowly molding Eric into our own apprentice. He's learning how to be a hoarder collector like us.
Oh no, I was already
very proud of him.
A what collector?
I've had to getting there. He was already getting there.
A what collector?
A movie collector.
Oh, of course, yes. You got to teach the young one.
We're teaching the boy.
You got to drop some knowledge.
I see a collection. I cannot stop myself.
And it's beginning. Yes, you planted the seeds well.
All right, guys. So, that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And did this film live up to the hype we have been building it up for? Let's discuss it tonight. So, opening non-spoiler thoughts before we get into details and spoilers and whatnot. So, Chris, I want to hear what you thought of this movie first. So, again, non-spoiler. Mm-hmm. Overall, real quick, what did you think of this movie?
I absolutely love this movie. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. The Force Awakens kicked off. Star Wars bring back like dynamite. We got great. Of course, we got the terrific Rogue One last year, and I was really looking forward to how the second installment. Very much so. I was waiting to see what Rian Johnson would do with this movie, and he did not disappoint. There are some parallels to Empire. It is a darker movie, though not as dark as Empire. But it is a little bit more evolving. You get to see the characters expand. you see them grow in a lot of different ways. Of course, you got the old favorites back. You got Mark Hamill, that's Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher in her last performances, our beloved Leia Organa, yes, because she passed last year. And of course, you go Chewie, you see C-3PO and R2-D2 all the gang, and Mark Hamill, just like you say, man, he he's just breathtaking. He's just absolutely wonderful in this movie. You know, and this is a role. I mean, this is a role of a career, I suppose. I mean, there's some interesting new characters. Some of them didn't strike a chord with me, but one of them is like I really liked right there. Introduction to the saga. I mean, I just like it's a lot more. I mean, it's just I like. I mean, of course, Star Wars delivers on the action front is always spectacular. The visual effects are great as always. You know, I mean, Rian Johnson just really took Star Wars to. It also did something interesting. It did some things different. I mean, it took Star Wars to areas we thought we could never go with this movie. It is very much a Star Wars movie, but yet it shows us what Star Wars can be, and that's why I like what Rian Johnson brought to the table. I mean, he was perfect to helm this, write and direct this movie, and I cannot wait to see what he does with the new trilogy he's going to be helming. It was just set outside the Skywalker saga. He really, really, really delivered on this. He just made this offering absolutely fantastic.
Alrighty. Said it earlier. You are anticipating a firing squad for yourself. Why is that? What did you think about The Last Jedi?
Honestly, it's the most disappointing movie I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
It does have some good moments. It has some standout actors, but ultimately, I feel the problems with the movie, them being some of the portrayals of the characters, how it's written, and the various plot holes in the movie draw too much attention away and ultimately do a disservice to the characters in the original saga and make me worried about the future trilogy. That's just like my giving us, because I could go into a bit more detail about the specifics of what I really liked and what I didn't like, but I kind of want to go into more spoilers of that because each of the things I loved and the things I hated kind of draw from very specific points that I wouldn't want to spoil for people. But in all, if you want to go see the next chapter of Star Wars, yeah, don't stop yourself, go and see it. But it's bringing up more concerns than it is hope.
Well, don't worry, Eric. We will be spoiling the hell out of this movie later on. This is just right now. We will get into spoilers later. Caleb, what about you? I mean, we were sitting together. We seem to be enjoying the same moment. What did you think about Last Jedi?
Well, Paul, to be honest with you, I mean, look, coming out of the movie, you know, my first high, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really enjoyable. But I got to be honest with you. Now, I'm not being influenced by anything by Eric, or I watched and he bashed the fuck out of it.
Through you.
I'm not gonna say that there was that I had like that it was a bad film or anything, but I do feel like Lucasfilm kind of played it a little safe. I feel like they kind of played it a little safe, and some of the decisions that they made, I'm not a huge fan of.
Okay.
And I'll get into it probably because as I had time to think about it, probably because we started on Friday night.
Yep.
Now it's Sunday, and I've had a day and a half to kind of process it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, so, I mean, overall, I still enjoyed the film.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, definitely there was, you know, definitely problems that I could see, so.
So. You might find it hard to believe, Kel, but I'm actually kind of in the same boat as you. I'm actually quite conflicted about this movie. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie, not by any stretch. I mean, let's be honest, Attack of the Clones was way worse.
Oh, yeah.
I've certainly seen worse Star Wars movies.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
And, but I don't think it's a great movie either by any stretch.
Oh, okay.
Again, there were definitely some problems that I see this film. There were some things where there's certain things I was expecting on this movie. I thought this film needs to deliver on certain things, and I thought it failed to deliver on certain elements.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of twists and turns in this movie that, while I'll admit I didn't see coming at first, and I do think it was a good idea. I do think some of them worked.
Mm-hmm.
Others I thought may have lend itself to some wasted potential or wasted characters, which we will get into in the spoiler discussion. So, not a bad movie by any stretch, but I don't think it lived up to what we could have gotten based on Force Awakens. I don't think it lived up to the hype that Force Awakens generated, and to a lesser extent, Rogue One generated.
Honestly, Paulie, to be honest with you, because all the reports that we heard out of this, was Disney loved what Rian Johnson did. They loved what he did with the film. Yeah, the Disney executives might have loved, but they're not the diehard, live and breathe Star Wars like we are. But
yeah,
and die by Star. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there was just certain things, Paulie, that I look back on now, and I'm like, okay, I really didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to make me hate the film. I mean, God,
that's actually brings up an interesting point, because not trying to say like, oh, people who like this movie aren't Star Wars fans. No, not to say that, but that is an interesting trend that I've been noticing, that a lot of the people that I follow online that are really, really huge Star Trek fans, and not Star Wars fans, that a lot of them actually find a ton of problems with it. But there are some that I've seen that do definitely still love the movie. But that's actually something I've been noticing. A lot of the people who just watch the movies are really loving it, but the people who are more into Star Wars outside of that are finding more problems. That's just something I noticed that you kind of brought up that I thought was interesting.
Right. It's like all the casual fans, Paul, are, I love it. It's amazing.
Not to say that people who like the film aren't Star Wars fans, though.
Right. I mean, look, like everybody knows, Paul. They're Star Wars fans, and then they're Star Wars fans, and we're definitely Star Wars fans. Like, live and die, have seen each movie except for the prequels because they don't count. Seen the five actual Star Wars movies. Obviously this one is brand new, but I've seen the other 4 100 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, just Star Wars fans, and just small things, Paul. Just small things that, again, that we'll get into. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. That's the end of the spoiler-free line, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're getting into spoilers. If you have not seen this movie, look away. Turn off the screen.
I feel like we should let Chris talk so we can get the mood lightened again.
Go away.
My question,
come back and watch us.
It's Sunday. Why haven't you seen it yet? It's Sunday. You should have already seen it by now.
All right. So let's get over. Well, let's start. Let's not start on a down note. Let's
positives.
Yeah, let's start with the positives. So I mean, actually, I think Eric, I'm going to start with you on this one. What were some things about the movie you did like?
So, number one thing I always say to people, like, regardless of what they're wondering about me, first thing I say, Poe Dameron, absolutely the best character in this movie. Like, he is an absolute standout.
Absolutely.
And I just
best character in the
like, he was my favorite in Force Awakens by a little, and I had to kind of convince people I liked him. This movie, I think, is going to convince people that Poe Dameron is a great character and definitely needs to stick around. Other positives, there are a lot of the action scenes, like you were mentioning before. Star Wars always delivers on the action. This one I felt was no exception. The action was pretty great. Any gripes that I had with any of the action more fall into other kinds of specific problems, but the action itself never was the problem. And some of the visual effects, like the more, not necessarily like the individual character CGI, but more like the grand scale type effects, I thought were really good. but we're in the spoiler section, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, like when the character did the hyperdrive through the fleets, just that big visual effect was
Hold him.
amazing, and it just reminds me of the kind of awe-inspiring visuals that you can get out of Star Wars.
Mm. I mean, there was like a loud like gasp in the. I mean, when I amongst the audience I went to see it with, it's just like they're like, I mean, they were completely stunned. I was like,
Mm-hmm. So all of that I did love, and okay. I feel like this is controversial, but it's not. I know this is a popular opinion, but I'm like, okay. The porgs didn't serve any purpose whatsoever.
they did.
But I can't help myself. I love the porgs.
I hate porgs.
Porgs! Porgs are awesome!
They serve zero purpose. They don't even look that good in the movie. But I just, for some reason, love the porgs.
Don't you bash the porg! Porg hater! Porg hater!
I know
You're
it's
a porg hater!
I
Don't
know
let me
they're,
stick a Voltex on your ass.
I know they're terrible. I know they're terrible, but I can't help myself.
All cute things he hates. God.
Yeah, he hates all good things.
No,
You're a hater!
I don't hate Ewoks.
All
So
right.
The Ewoks.
I kind of agree with Paul.
All right.
On that, let's run to someone else just because I feel like if I keep going, I'll kind of ramble on the same books.
All right. So yeah, I'm gonna go on this one. So yeah. Yeah, following kind of along the same trend that Eric did. Poe was absolutely amazing. Oscar Isaac played the hell out of this role, and I hope his role is significantly increased in the 9th movie. I want more Poe because that's just amazing. Again, Ray didn't impress. I like Daisy Ridley in the role again. I thought she did a fine job. Mark Hamill definitely, I enjoyed him for the most part. Mark Hamill was, again, special. You could really feel the pain that his character was going through. I thought he did a great job portraying that. Again, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul, was absolutely stellar. And again, we're in spoiler territory. Seeing her use the Force to get back on the ship, I was like, yes! Yes! That is our princess right there!
You know what?
That was nice. Yeah, what else? Again, the action sequences, very well done. I enjoyed them very much. Again, the visuals, like Eric said, that scene where the Resistance warp cruiser ship goes hyperspace right through the first door, so like, oh snap! That was so amazing to see, and I so enjoyed this. Y'all know where I'm coming from. When we see Yoda show up on the planet, not only show up, but he's a puppet again, and a good-looking puppet, not that shit from Episode 1 that got CGI'd over, which was better looking, but a puppet, and it looked great. So that brought a smile to my face. I'm like, Yoda's a puppet. And Frank Oz sounds great as always. It was nice to hear his voice again. So yeah, there was quite a good thing. And like Eric, I know they serve no purpose, but I love the porks. How can you not love the porks? The porks were fun. They were so cute.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's the problem. That's why I hate myself for it. You're not wrong.
They are just adorable. All right. Caleb, I'm coming to you. What were some things you liked about this? What were some of the things you liked about this movie?
All right. First of all, Paul, I just got to get this on my chest, okay? When you mentioned the Carrie Fisher scene where she, instinctively used her Force powers, something that Angry Joe said really pissed me off. He was like, well, how would you know to do that? I mean, was she trained? And I'm just thinking to myself, dude, she's so naturally gifted in the Force. She's Darth Vader's daughter.
And do you really
have you seen
would not have taught her a few things?
Well, even so, Paul, her life is in danger. What happens? Adrenaline takes over in the Star Wars universe. When I guarantee, when adrenaline takes over, then her Force powers take over, and she says, "Oh, and she's so powerful that people forget that, like, oh, well, Princess Leia, she's one of the most powerful people in the Star Wars universe. And it's just like it's just facts. But anyway, look, the movie was a lot of fun. The space battles look great. The CGI was great. Oscar Isaac killed it as Poe Dameron. The best damn pilot in the whole universe and the whole galaxy, easily. Like, look, he absolutely killed it. And the movie, look, yes, is there plot things about it? Yes, but it was fun. It was just a fun Star Wars. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself in the theater. I found myself smiling. I cried when Luke, disappeared into the Force. Like, it's one of those things where I felt like it felt like a Star Wars movie to me. And that's my number one thing. Like, all the prequels, they never felt like Star Wars to me. Maybe 3, like maybe Revenge of the Sith a little bit, but yeah. Look, these movies were just a lot of fun, and I'm definitely. I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes, but again, once we get into like negatives and like really spoiling it, then I'll get into all those. So, but overall, Paul, I really enjoyed it though.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. I mean, you seem to like it the most out of all 4 of us. So, what were some things you did like about this movie?
I mean, like I said, it's like Rian Johnson's directing was very masterful in this movie. As like the performances to me are the highlight to me of this particular film. This probably is the strongest acted Star Wars film so far. I mean, yeah, Carrie Fisher, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac, and even Kelvin Marie Tran. I mean, really give their all. They really they give their all, but they're really spot on in this movie. But Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley, yeah, they truly shine in this movie. They were top notch. Mark Hamill was great as this. It's this Luke Skywalker we never seen. He's weary. He's angry. He's bitter. He's jaded. It's just like we never seen him like that. I mean, he used to be an optimistic, idealistic character, but we see like what has been done to him in terms of how emotionally damaged he is. I mean, I like how Mark Hamill conveyed this anger and pain that he had. I mean, that was beautiful. I mean, that was a great performance. He was directed wonderfully, and Adam Driver he so brings so much layering and depth to Kylo Ren, and Daisy Ridley is just wonderful. It's just she's in an evolution as Rey and just trying to find her place in all the grand scheme of all that's happening in the galaxy. That was awesome. And I hate porks. I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's the correct opinion you should have. But
Stop! No!
I know they're terrible, but I love them.
Yes, like I said, the action and visual effects were great. That's great as usual. I mean, just like I think the acting is one that like I said, the visual effects. I mean, it's just like they're great. I mean, it's like I like how expanded on things to have more insight into what the Force can do. It's just like I like what Rian Johnson has did with his spin on things. He's really much expanding what we know about Star Wars. I mean, it's just like I just like what he brought to the table. Mostly the acting and just the expansion, the world building are just really, to me, they're such highlights. And there are many other highlights of this movie for me. There are lots of superlatives. Those are the ones that are really highlights to me. Yeah.
Okay. So we've gone into positive now. All right. I think we need to get into some negatives here, and I feel like I really need to start this one off because I do have a few of them, unfortunately, and they were never enough to like kill the movie, but they were worth noting. So one of the first ones that I noted, and it's kind of like. One of the smaller ones that bugged me was I'm sorry, I thought John Boyega seemed almost like brushed to the side in this film. Like he almost seemed like he wasn't important in this movie. And that kind of bugged me because he was such a standout from Force Awakens. Like I wanted to see this guy even more. And that sort of like romance with Rose, I don't know, something about it just seemed forced to me. Like, wait a minute, where the hell did this come from? Where was this the whole time? I never saw this.
Nope, I liked it.
Where did this come from?
I didn't hate it, but I liked it.
I mean, that just made no sense. It came out of nowhere. I'm like, okay, that's just stupid. Come on, you need more than that. Give me a break. Like, fucking Han and Leia's romance that was better built up than that. Where did this come from? So that was one. Captain Phasma. I really hope she's not dead, or else she is going to be fucking wasted. I mean, we've had 2 movies. We've heard about what a total badass she is. I heard that there was a novel written about it where she took on an entire garrison of troops by herself and kicked their asses. We haven't really seen that badass Captain Phasma yet, so come on, I'm still waiting for that. So those were a few things. And then I want to get here are the 2 big ones that almost pissed me off, truth be told, or felt really let down. And I'm getting into major spoilers here. The first one is that scene where Snoke has Rey, and he's telling Kylo Ren, "It's time, kill her. I sense no quarrel in you. I sense no conflict in you. You are truly a Sith Lord. Kill her." And instead, Snoke manipulates Luke's lightsaber and cuts Snoke in half. Now, I will admit, that caught me completely off guard. I did not see that coming, and I thought it was an amazing twist. I thought the execution of that was done perfectly. That being said, now I feel like Snoke was just wasted. Like, okay, he built up in the first movie this amazingly powerful being, and in this movie, we're finally going to figure out who this guy is, where he comes from, how powerful is this guy? We're finally going to learn this about this new emperor. Like, oh my god, I'm expecting something really terrifying, and he goes out like a bitch. He goes out like a fucking pussy. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's it? So we don't learn a damn thing about the guy. He's a wasted fucking character. Come on, Disney, Rian Johnson, whoever's fault it was. You're gonna throw him on the trash pile like that? Give me a break. So again, that really pissed me off. Again, great twist. I didn't see it coming. The execution of it was perfect. But no, you don't throw away a character like that. Not without giving us something about him. Now he's just fucking wasted. So that pissed me off. And then the other thing, the fight between Luke and Kylo Ren at the end. It was well done. It was very emotional. I'll give it that. But it felt very disappointing. And I'll tell you why. I'll admit I've never read many of the Legend era continuity books now, but I know that throughout Legends continuity, and even someone into canon, it's always been built up just how ridiculously overpowered Luke was. Like, he was the most powerful Jedi who has ever existed. And a big reason for that is he was different than the Jedi of the Old Order. He was a Jedi through and through. Let's make that clear. He was a Jedi through and through. But unlike the Jedi of the Old Order, he would not hesitate to use dark side powers if he felt it was needed. And we see that in Return of the Jedi when he chokes those Gamma Reading guards. Force choke's a dark side move, people, but he used it and I remember reading or hearing stories about how Luke had mastered a variant of Force Lightning that was so powerful it could incinerate someone with just one quick shot burst. So imagine that kind of power. That's even more powerful than Palpatine's Force Lightning, and we all know he was a master at it. Probably the most powerful Sith Lord to ever use it. I mean, and then in the book, which chronicles the Battle of Jakku, which we all hear about in Force Awakens, there's a segment about how Luke single-handedly, using nothing but the Force, brought down 2 Star Destroyers on the planet. He crashed them right onto the planet. I mean, I have been waiting almost 20 years I've been waiting my whole life to see Luke Skywalker in all his power, all his glory. Just see just how powerful this guy really is. And while I will admit the move he used, creating that Force illusion, yeah, it was cool, but it felt like such a letdown.
All right, hey. Now, Paulie, call it what it is, Paulie. The Force illusion was a cop out, Paulie. I thought it was such a cop out.
Yeah, I wanted to see him, when all those AT-ADs and bigger ADs just fire, I wanted to see him just stop it, throw it back at him, just pick them all up, just crush him. Like, that's how powerful he is.
Let me give you a visual, Paul. What if we got to see Luke Skywalker in all his glory, Paul? Let me just paint a picture. So all this is happening. The speeder, they crashed. All hope is lost. All of a sudden, you see an X-Wing flying. Takes him out. And then you see Luke jump out of the X-Wing, throw a saber, through things, use the Force, pull this to the side, and then just land on the hood of Kylo. And he just stares him down, Paulie. And you're like, that was Luke. He's a badass. He's a master lightsaber duelist. He's a master of the Force, and he will beat your ass.
Okay, I was not expecting.
I know that would never happen, Paulie, but that would have been awesome.
I was not expecting fancy lightsaber moving. Mark Hamill's in his 60s. I don't expect him to, pull off anything fancy, but I'm expecting some amazingly skilled Force powers. I wanted to see just how powerful this guy was, and I didn't see shit. So that was such a major letdown. And try to imagine how bad it was for people who've been waiting almost 40 years since Return of the Jedi to see this, to see just how powerful Luke is. And we didn't get nothing. We got nothing. So disappointing, and it pissed me off. Again, a very emotional scene. Don't get me wrong. It was a great scene. And seeing him, disappear into the Force, become one with it, I'm like, oh, damn. I mean, it was well done, don't get me wrong, but it just felt like a cop-out. Like Caleb said, it was a cop-out.
Yeah, it was a major cop-out, in my opinion.
Again, not enough to take away from the movie. It was still a good movie, but there were some major, major problems with this that, Disney should not have done this. You should have done this a lot better. You should have given more of what we wanted, Disney. Come on. So, those were my negatives. Okay, Caleb, I think I've rambled on long enough. Caleb, what about you? What were some of the negatives you had?
Oh, man. Look, this movie, I didn't feel like it had that many negatives. But, man, they were blatant, Paulie. What was the point of Snoke? Somebody please explain that to me. You build him up like he's supposed to be not the Emperor, but, an Emperor-type figure, Paulie. Nah, fuck. He's going to kill his ass off. Like, if he's so strong and powerful, you can't tell me that he didn't notice, Kylo turn that lightsaber? Is that what you're going to tell me? Now, when I was talking to Mike about it in the car ride back to my apartment, we talked about, well, he was using his powers to hold Rey down and everything. But if he's supposed to be all-worldly, and all-powerful, he should still know that. He should still know. And now it's like, what's the plan going forward? What's the game plan? Because it really doesn't make sense. The more and more I think about it, I hated the fact that Luke was on the island the entire time, and that he died. He never got off that island. That really, really irks me. Now I get that Mark Hamill is 60. I get it, but come on, dude. Like, really? And the thing that I'd probably say irked me the most, part, the explanation that they gave for Rey's parents was also a cop-out. And it was also a giant pile of shit. And it's a giant lie, in my opinion.
Okay.
I thought it was
not fair. Now, I've seen some videos that kind of...
Well, he may be lying about that. I'm not really...
I've watched a couple of videos from, Stupendous Wave, Star Wars Theory, and there are a couple of videos that seem to suggest that Rey was born as a way to counter the growing power of darkness that resided in Kylo Ren. They seem to present that as a theory, and I guess to a sense that makes sense because you know how the Jedi always say the Force must be balanced, for the Force must always maintain balance, and when one side becomes too much, the other will rise to counteract it. So there all must be a balance and scale. So I think that was the explanation. That Rey was born as a way to counter the growing power of darkness that resided within Kylo Ren. Now, whether or not that makes any sense or whether or not that's good enough for you, I don't know. That's your opinion. It makes sense, but you're right. I do think it was a bit of a cop-out. I mean, it'll at least give us something about it, I mean, I suppose it also shows, you don't have to be special to have the Force. to possess the power of the Force to be strong with it, but
Right.
I don't know.
It just. I mean, when I first saw it, I was kind of like, huh? Okay, like whatever. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, boy. But it's just, like small things like that, and then, how it ended. It just okay. And you know what would have been really cool, Paul? I actually watched a guy on YouTube, Paul. He had this theory. He said, what if they had Rey join Kylo? What if she accepted his offer, Paul? And at
I
the start
thought
of
that was
9,
gonna happen.
Yeah, honestly, I thought that for a moment that would
she's
happen.
conflicted, Paulie. Like you could see the entire movie because what was Rey's point in the entire movie? She tried to get Luke off the island. That never happened, and so she went to Kylo, and then she left him again. Like she had no arc, Paulie. That is what I'm getting at. She didn't have an arc in the movie.
Yeah, come on,
And
come
it's
on,
like,
Ray. Why didn't you stay with Kylo? Like there was some very clear sexual tension right there happening all the time.
Woo!
in her mind, Eric. In her mind, she's conflicted. Well, what do I really do? And if she had said, if she had joined him, that would have made for an interesting dynamic at going forward in 9. Now it's just okay. They're gonna have a giant battle at the end, and she's gonna kill him or she's gonna beat him. We already know what's gonna happen. It's pretty paint by the numbers. Like we all know what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a giant battle, and there's gonna be if Snoke was still alive, it might have been something different. But guys, to be honest, I think how when everyone criticized Episode 7 that it was so much like Episode 4, because I think that a rough draft of this had Snoke surviving, and it had him and Kylo hurting Rey or like something like that. But they were worried that all Star Wars was like, well, it's just like Episode 5. It's gonna end just like 5, where we're not gonna know. Blah blah blah. It's gonna feel just like 5, which is the dumbest thing I ever heard because Episode 5 is one of the greatest movies that has ever been made. So if you're gonna emulate something, let's emulate the original trilogy. We like those movies. Those are good movies. So it's very frustrating. It's very confusing because it's like I feel like they changed something. I feel like when everyone criticized Force Awakens for being too much like A New Hope, they were like, well, we got to change it so it's not so it doesn't feel like Episode 5. So I don't know if it's like I'd say the movie was very disappointing. Enjoyable, but it didn't have some of the things that I was looking for. So, but I mean, overall, I didn't feel like there was like a ton of negatives, but the negatives that it has are very glaring.
Absolutely, absolutely. Eric, anything? What were some of your negatives you had about this movie?
Well, I didn't know if we wanted to start with Chris because I'm gonna take a while.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Chris, I mean, you seem to thoroughly enjoy this movie. Was there anything you didn't like about it?
Well, I wasn't. I mean, even though these two gave some good performances, I didn't think both Benicio del Toro and Laura Dern's characters were quite fleshed out. I mean, they had some. I suppose Laura Dern's Admiral Holdo character has some good aspects to her, but she seemed very passive and very. I'm very unwilling. Is stubborn and kind of unwilling to make. She seemed indecisive to me, and it wasn't really a lot in so it was a lot of growth to her character, and she kind of really irritated me in terms of her character, was in her approach to the situation. It really got on my nerves. And Benicio del Toro's DJ wasn't quite a fleshed out character. I mean, there's some interesting, intriguing aspects to him, but he didn't compel me. I mean, there is a certain gray area to him, but there are some interesting ideas there. But I don't think they never really followed them in terms of what they wanted to do. He was kind of wasted, and Captain Phasma was wasted. She looks cool, she looks badass, but she has no intimidation factor. She has no menace. She didn't do nothing for me. and I hope they don't bring her back in episode 9. And also, what else was there? General Hux seemed to be he just seemed to be more of a buffoon more than anything else. He wasn't really threatening in Force Awakens. He was even less threatening in The Last Jedi. He's really become sort of like a figure of comic relief, so to speak. You know,
he's coming. You know the General Hux, pasty white guy. You know, little him. Okay. I mean, he's supposed to be like your lead, like general or something, or you know, like your lead commander. You know, he's like third in command between Snoke, Kylo, and him.
Mm-hmm.
Kylo are almost on the same level, but no, we're gonna make him comedy relief.
No, yeah, basically. Yeah, basically, he wasn't really threatening. He's just become Kylo Ren's, fuck boy or something like that. I mean, basically, he's bitch.
He was Kylo's bitch.
Yeah.
At the end, he was definitely Kylo's bitch. Like that was obvious.
It's still the true bring me.
I still stand by. There's that one speech he has in Episode 7, and there's this guy who, like, if you watch the film again, you will know exactly who I'm talking about when you see him. Behind him in the speech, there's this guy wearing the exact same stuff as him. He's just got this big old gray mustache. He looks like a general. General Hux looks like he is impersonating Jesse Eisenberg's like.
Woo! And I bet the little Pacey was a little off at times. Felt a little stressed out. Like that's where my overall deck is.
We're talking about Jesse Eisenberg. Oh my god! I didn't know it was that bad. I didn't know it was on that level. Damn.
Damn, son. All right, Eric, you said you had a long way to go, so
yes. Okay. So I wrote some notes down, trying to organize my thoughts because I didn't want to go into a ramble. I didn't want to seem like I was hating on everything, so I wanted to try and organize my thoughts. And I got these little note cards with things on my thoughts, for things I like, things I didn't like. But when I was writing things I disliked, I had to take a separate note card to write this. Note card to say Luke was awful in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of stunned me when you mentioned this to me. All right, you need to explain this to me, son.
Please.
Not the Luke Skywalker I remember from Episode 6, because first off, the biggest thing that bothered me for the whole movie when I saw it, like I'm fine with him being like, no, I'm an old man, leave me alone. I came here to die. I'm fine that he's given up on that. But the reasoning for it is, keep in mind, that is because he caused Kylo Ren to steal a murder. Okay, I understand that. That's kind of traumatizing. But why did that happen? Oh, I don't know. He wanted to kill Kylo because he saw the darkness in him. And keep in mind, he's wanting to kill Kylo because this is the son, part of his family, of his twin sister and his best friend. And he sees a spark of darkness and conflict in him. And he immediately is like, time to kill. When it's like, okay, Obi-Wan tells you later, the second most evil man in the universe has no light left in him. Yoda tells you to kill your father. And Luke goes on a suicide mission because he thinks he can bring the light out of the lost Anakin Skywalker. And by God, he does. So why the hell would he even consider killing Kylo?
That is a phenomenal point, Paulie. That is a phenomenal point.
Yeah.
Let me counter that.
And then after
maybe 30 years has changed in that. After 30 years, he's like, well, you know what? I did bring my father back, who was, other than the Emperor, the second hatest and the most evil person in the whole galaxy. But
and then,
I can't bring this guy back because I sense some evil in him. I just can't do it.
Would you prefer they made him like an Obi-Wan type role, like wise and benevolent? I mean, it's just...
Yes, that's exactly who he set out to be in Episode 6.
it would be kind of boring. It's
I mean,
Skywalker.
look, Chris,
The
don't you think? Okay, look. I mean, you know what? I'm kind of with Eric though. The more that you think about it, don't you guys think that Luke was kind of a whiny bitch?
oh god.
A
Go
little
away!
bit.
Go
I mean,
away!
Just a bit.
Leave me alone!
Oh,
Leave me alone, guy. Go away! I can't help you. I can't do it.
it's rough. Of course, it gets everywhere.
no,
Oh,
don't you
God.
ever say that again.
Look,
But,
Don't you ever
look,
I won't,
say
and I
that.
won't
Chris.
stick on him too long, and I won't stick on him too long because I don't want to
What?
ramp. I do have to mention though my other because it's related to another point I have. I did not like how they took him out of the franchise. Like, technically he's not out; he can come back as Force Gifts. I didn't because when I saw him walk up to to out in front of the Rebel base, and he was about to take the whole fire of the entire squadron, I thought, A, that's really good because you set up the foreshadowing of what do you expect me to do? Walk out there and take on everybody with a lightsaber? It's like, and he was doing that. But then B, I'm like, he's gonna die to all of this being the mark. Because like, keep in mind, no one else besides Luke came to their distress call in that moment. I'm like, yes, he being a legend is going to sacrifice himself and be a martyr to bring together the last of the resistance and re-spark this rebellion. And they're
Which
and
he did.
together. And then he just no, he's not even there. And he's just like nothing happened because he's not there. So and then so they play the route of okay, well, he's gonna live. I'm fine with this, no problem. So it's like, oh, did he go to confront Kylo Ren? Did he die? No, he didn't. Oh, wait, then he did. So what's the point of not having him even be there?
Lord.
So instead of dying,
He do something significant. He did sacrifice his life so to get Biden time so that the resistance can get off the planet.
Again, the more. Would you guys rather have had an Obi-Wan moment, where he
Yes.
lets Kylo strike him down?
That was actually kind of
Actually, I think that would have been more better.
We want him to just like die into the Force.
oh Lord, please.
and okay, all right.
Strike me down, and I will always be with you. Just like
He's so like, you guys
All right.
leave my Luke Skywalker alone.
That's the big one. I had to spend a lot of time on that. I promise I won't. I try not to ramble on the rest of it. Okay. The next thing I was telling Paul about this, and it was driving me crazy, is okay. The reason that a lot of the things with Finn and Rose felt like they didn't really matter, they were shoved to the side, is because, hey, you know how you can and you're gonna evacuate the ship? Well, how about communicate that, not cause several people to die, and not cause a mutiny? Why, if there's a mutiny on your ship, do you not reveal the plan? Oh, she doesn't want to be remembered as a hero. No, you're not a hero if you're causing everybody to die. Oh my god. So every problem, that entire arc, and every problem that happened on that ship could have been avoided if there was a little bit more communication. One thing I was talking to Paul I was disappointed with was that, and Kylo Ren are built up like by Luke and by other characters to be, these huge forces of dark. And we hear and hear and hear about how much conflict there is in Kylo Ren. We even see how he's conflicted about stuff. We see the things that are conflicting him towards the light, but we never really see what draws him to the dark. We never really see his dark side training or the Knights of Ren, which is a completely dropped plot point from The Force Awakens. And now with Snoke being dead, it's like, well, now Snoke is just completely wasted. We won't get to see any of the dark side training. We won't really know anything about these forces. Besides, Kylo Ren is the bad guy. Let's kill him. And that honestly makes me very disappointed. There's and the last thing, a lot of this stuff is just annoyances. But the last thing that really, really drove me insane, and Paul already mentioned this, Captain Phasma. Like, we hear about how awesome she is. She's built up like this Boba Fett-like character, and we're all afraid in Episode 7 that she's gonna be Boba Fett. She's gonna have no purpose and just die randomly. Okay. And she doesn't really do anything in Episode 7. But then they're like, oh no, she'll have a bigger role in this. She'll do more. She's awesome, guys. Trust us. And then
She didn't really do much.
we see her fight and knock Finn off a platform, but then she gets killed in one hit. And it's the sort of, and also, Angry Joe kind of said this best. She turns into a Bond villain where she has him like ready to die at
More
so
like
many.
a Bond henchman, so to speak.
Like, bring out the axes. Good enough for you. And then it's like, okay, all right, I can buy
I didn't
that.
even think about it.
I can buy that. But like, when miraculously all of you survive a hyperspace ship going through yours, why don't you just shoot Finn then? In fact, she knocks Finn off the platform. She pulls out a pistol to shoot Rose. And I'm like, oh my god. I was just very disappointed by that character because a lot of the things that are just characters and moments that are built up and then just have zero pay. And then I have a couple. And then I have a bunch of other annoyances that I won't go too into because I don't want to spend this whole podcast me ranting. Is because planets and the whole and the animal CGI on that. I don't even want to talk about that. The only other thing is, yeah, Mike. What Mike was saying to us, Paul and Caleb, was that it was a lot funnier than we would think it is, and I kind of think that worked against it in a lot of ways because it was trying to be a more serious storyline, but every time you have to ponder on a serious moment, they just cut to a joke, like half of them really didn't land for me, honestly. And like there were a couple ones that had me laughing out loud in the theater, like everybody else. And I'm not going to deny those; those are great moments. But it honestly felt like it was trying to be a Marvel movie a lot of times, as opposed to a Star Wars movie.
So let me get this right. It kind of felt like how Thor Ragnarok was, where when it needed to be serious, there was a joke there, and instead, that's how I describe the humor to people. Like, I think it went a little bit farther than Thor Ragnarok. Now, whether that's a positive or a negative, that's kind of up to the person if they like that comedy and everything. I personally felt like it took me out of the moment a little bit too much. But again, that's why I said it was more of an annoyance than a big problem for me. And I'm sorry, I will let you guys talk now. I've been rambling long enough. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry, Chris.
Definitely stirred up a bit of a hornet's nest with Chris, Eric. I think.
Wow.
Although I'm sure there will be some Star Wars fans that agree with you.
No, they go a little overboard at times.
I apologize.
Hey, don't apologize. You know, this is why we do things. This is why we do things. All right. Besides, I got a feeling that come next show, I think you and I are going to be starting up a whole lot more controversy than that. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Well, you'll find out.
Oh.
Right,
I gotta grab my cord for the computer.
Look, I can't really think of like anything more that I want to. All right, you know what? Okay, to round things off. So, seems like to finish things off, it sounds like aside from Chris, Chris loved it. The three of us have considered it was good, but it had a lot of flaws. How do you all, and Chris, I'll start with you on this one. Based on what we have seen with both Episode 7 and Episode 8, what are some of the things that you're anticipating or that you hope to see with Episode 9?
That's gonna be tough. I mean, from when we saw the ending with the kids, telling the tale of Luke Skywalker or stuff like that, and you see that one kid using the Force, it's just like that's what I hope to see going forward. It's that we get a hope that the Jedi will rise again because because Luke defiantly tells Kylo Ren that Luke will not that he will not be the last Jedi, that they will rise again. I'm hope to see that we get to see more Force power. There be some more Force users out there, and hope Rey does whatever she can to make sure to find whoever's out there, train them in the ways of the Force and stuff like that. I mean, it's less than likely, but I hope we do get to see that kind of thing again, to see Rey training a new generation of Jedi. Of course, it's not going to be a lot, and I would like to see more of the Knights of Ren. They were kind of overlooked in this movie. To me, I mean, I would like to see more. I like to learn more about them, and I want to see Lucas. Force. Less likely too. Lucas a Force Ghost. But like I said, I consider this less than likely. All the stuff that I want to see. That's what I expect to see. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I want to see Poe. I mean, like Poe and Finn had significant roles in this movie. I want to see them expand it more upon. Thusly, I mean, those are my expectations going into episode 9. I mean, it's just like, I'm really much anticipating it, very, very much so.
All right. Eric, do you have any expectations or hopes regarding episode 9, which comes out in 2 years?
Yeah, and I actually have some thoughts that, that all of these 3 movies have kind of given me for, what I think about the franchise going forward. And I know I've been extremely negative, but I swear a lot of this is positive. So they can
he swears
characters that we've never seen before and new situations that really enthrall us, like Snoke, Rey, Finn, and the Knights of Ren. They're all been, just the talk of the town every time Star Wars is brought up, and I really appreciate that. As well as, even though I wasn't a huge fan of Rogue One, I still liked a lot of the ideas they brought up in that movie. So I really like what they're able to do with setting up their new universe. But I think what my problems in this film can me realize is that I like what they set up, but I think that Disney going forward needs to try a bit harder to get a consistent vision, because when they're going one film after another, so episode 7 to episode 8 had a completely different writing team, completely different directors, and I feel like that's where a lot of problems came from. But I was fine with Rogue One being so different from these other 2 films because it's covering a completely different time period, completely different characters. So I'm very happy that J.J. Abrams is coming back to The Last Jedi. And as much as I wasn't a fan of this film, I'm very happy that their next trilogy that they're making is all going to be Rian Johnson, because whatever they put forward is going to have very consistent with what their previous films were. And if they want to bring in new directors and try them out, I think that the anthology films are great for that, because there were great moments from Rogue One, and I'd like to see some more ideas from that brought in, and that's where they can do their experimentation and learn from that sort of stuff. So I have hopes for the franchise, and I think that this brings a lot of lesson to Disney and Lucasfilm that they can learn from and improve the Star Wars franchise going forward.
Yeah, more originality, please.
Yes.
There's less to expect. More originality, please. They offered new ideas in this movie, but please,
we had no Snoke, Knights of Ren, none of that First Order, none of that had any real setup before episode 7, and we all pretty much loved it after that movie. So I want to see more of that, and I think that these episode 7 Rogue One kind of prove that they're capable of doing that, and I can't wait to see what they keep doing.
Okay, all right, very good, very good. Caleb, do you have any expectations or hopes going forward with the episode 9?
Oh, I don't know what I mean. For it's kind of ain't by numbers. I mean, we kind of know what's gonna happen. Rey's gonna beat Kylo. They're gonna have a big battle, and there's no I don't want to say twist, but I don't know what they can really do that's gonna surprise me. That's gonna surprise us at all, really. I mean,
they could pull it
my
in
big question.
Finn. That was a pretty big twist.
The number one thing, Paul, and I already know how you feel. Me and you are on the complete opposite spectrums of this, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, what are they going to do with Princess Leia? What are they going to do with Princess Leia?
Yeah.
Because if they kill her off screen, I will riot. If they say that she went off into another galaxy, I'll riot.
I think she's going to be recast.
I think that she needs to be recast, and I think that's the right thing to do. It's the way to respect the character, not write her off that she went to another galaxy or kill her off screen. That is so disrespectful to the legacy that Carrie Fisher has made as Princess Leia. It is so disrespectful. If they recast her, look, is it going to be different? Sure, but guess what? We'll get over it, and we'll understand that it was the best for what they need for what the story. Because I'm sorry, guys. Look, as much as I love Carrie Fisher, character, is really important to Star Wars. You can't just write Princess Leia off. It's no big deal. No, she's a huge deal, and she. If they recast her, I think that's the best way to go. So, I'm interested to see what happens there. We'll see, because it's going to be an interesting process. So, but I mean, I'm excited because I mean, look, like I said, the movie wasn't bad, but that's my main thing.
Right.
What are they going to do with Leia?
Yeah, that is. I think. I think my biggest my biggest hope and expectation is going forward is and this has kind of been a large problem these first two movies that we've got, episode 7 and episode 8. There's been a lot of great build up. The first 2/3 of each movie have been really, really good, but the payoff, the climax that we're supposed to get, in both instances, they've really been a letdown. More so with episode 8 than episode 7. So, with episode 9, they need to deliver the payoff. This whole movie, episode 9, needs to be one massive fucking payoff to all the buildup that's happened these first two movies. You have got to fucking deliver more. And a point example, Rogue One. Again, first 2/3 of the film, not so good, but holy shit, that climax was fucking incredible. That was legit the greatest final battle I have ever seen in any movie. I would put that up there among the greatest. So episode 9, this needs to be one giant third act, one extended 2.5-hour third act. It needs to deliver on everything that the first two films.
I don't know, man. You want to talk about 2.5 extended third acts? Look at this movie right here. I don't know if that's what you want.
I like the Hobbit trilogy. It ain't that bad. Trust me.
So yeah, JJ, Disney, pay up on us, man. You need to pay off. You need to deliver on everything you promised, okay? Gut check time, boys. Gut check time. Fourth quarter. It's time. So
it's time.
That's really all I need.
I want to see Force Ghost, Luke, but I'm really uncertain.
I don't want to see Force. You know what would be freaking awesome? And I'm gonna say this right now. This would be. I would, as Caleb is so fond of saying, I would jizz in my pants if I saw this. Force Ghosts of Yoda, Luke, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I would go ballistic if I saw that. Either talking to Rey or talking to Kylo or one of them.
Honestly, when we saw kind of the Force Ghosty type effect, I for a second thought they were gonna have Hayden Christensen there.
I was hearing rumors that he might show up, but I mean, I wasn't holding my breath. This time I'm holding my breath. I want Hayden Christensen in episode 9. I want to see that. Because, you know, despite all this
What a world
shit,
we live in when we say we want Hayden Christensen back.
hey, you know what? You know what?
I'm just joking around. I like
because Star Wars fans, it may have taken them a long time, but they finally came to a sense, you know what? It wasn't his fault that Anakin sucked in those movies. It was the fucking writing. Hayden did the best he could with what he was given. And I say this all the time. When he's not talking, he is a damn good actor. All the scenes
Still one of my favorite scenes in the prequels. One of my favorite scenes in the prequels is like him and Padme's non-conversation when he finds out that she's pregnant. But that's a different movie discussion entirely.
But I would go ballistic if I saw that. So I mean, yeah, those are my intent. Those are my expectations. Those are my hopes. It's time to deliver, Disney. You got to deliver on this.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that is going to wrap up our final show of 2017. This has been one amazing year. Our third full year of Nerds Unite is one. That is unbelievable. I can't believe we've gone that far. You know, Caleb, I mean, you started this whole thing. I mean, our third full year. You know, close it out on that. Give some thoughts on that. You're the one who started this whole thing.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, because you think about it, I mean, you know, technically it's been like, 3 full years after this year. I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane that we've literally been doing it for this long. And again, you know, we don't do this for views. We don't do this for money. We do this because I have on my show the people that I started this with. We have one thing in common. We love video games. We love movies. We love comic books. We love TV. You know, we love book. We just love to sit around and talk about everything that we love. And that's what it's about. It's not about making money or doing any of that.
Which we wouldn't mind.
You know, being able to sit around with a few of your friends and talk about some of your favorite movies. So. I want to thank everybody again for the. I mean, I usually do this every year, but everyone that's coming, everyone that's helped us, you know, get where we are. I mean, it's pretty incredible. So.
Yes, indeed. All right, guys. So, Chris, thank you very much for being here. I hope we didn't traumatize you too much with our negativity of this movie.
You traumatized me because I know deep down I enjoyed this movie a whole lot. To me, it's just
and that's great that you were able to find enjoyment out of it, and that's actually kind of why I wanted to be on the show, because I like hearing opinions that are opposite to mine. It gives me a newer perspective on things.
Right. Well, of course. Yeah. As I was saying, but Disney for me, it's just like, I mean, I know. I mean, but Disney has been, 4 billion. They made the investment pay off, and so far it's paying off. You know, it's just, I mean, I love it. I mean, Last Jedi is terrific of them, and it's just like Disney is it's like the best. They were like the best thing that happened to Star Wars. I love this. It's a great big year.
Okay. Eric, thank you very much for being here.
Glad to be here, Paul. I don't get to come on here enough, but I love it every time I do.
And we love having you here. And Caleb, my brother, it was a pleasure as always.
Yes, sir. Always, my friend. I could not miss this one. You know how important Star Wars is to me, man.
Oh, absolutely. All right, guys. So like I said, this is our last show of 2017. Next Monday is Christmas, and I would not dare ask any of these gentlemen to do a show on Christmas. It's just wrong on every stretch. So, and then the week after that, Monday is the first day of the new year. Woo! First day of 2018. So I don't know if we're going to do a show that day. I have a topic in mind. I don't know if that's going to be the day we do it, but we will keep you posted on that. So keep an eye out for that on our Facebook page, and we will see you. Well, we will see you next year, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye. And
Merry Christmas. We will see you in 2018.
2018, yes, indeed. Bye-bye.